Hey, Saturday afternoon in the shed, time for another video. And I thought this time I would just talk about something that comes up quite a bit. Let's talk batteries. So, if anyone has seen my posts throughout F150 Owners Australia or even on my business page, you'll know that I am absolutely not a fan of the factory battery that comes with the F150. Look, there's a couple of reasons behind it. Biggest one is obviously the fact that they they've definitely sat around for a very long time before we actually get to a point where the car gets delivered to you. And as anybody knows, sitting around doing not much isn't great for a battery. The other reason that it tends to be a bit of an issue is that their sheer amount of electronics and relays and modules and computers and sensors and what have you in one of these cars puts an astronomical amount of pressure on the battery to keep it all going. So even just sitting here right now, this car still has power going through just to keep everything ready to go. If you've got a Lariat like me, or even XLT for that matter, you'll know that some of the things start moving the moment that you go near the car. And that means that the car has to be ready to go at any second. The only way it can do that is to keep power going through it. So I guess what I'm saying in a roundabout way is F150s use a crap load of power all the time, and if your battery's not up to task, it's gonna let go, and probably, if it's anything like my experience, right when you least expect it and really don't want to have to deal with it. So what can you do about it? Well, there's a couple of things you can do. One is you can persevere with the factory battery. And look, for some people, I've worked on cars where it's on factory battery. It's been that way since day dot. They have not had a drama. No probs, more power to you. But for the majority of people, at some point or another, it's probably going to give out. The reason that we're looking at the engine bay is because of this. This is quite obviously not the factory battery, and sorry that it's upside down for the camera, but I'm standing in front of the car. This one is a Century battery. Picked it up at Super Cheap Auto. It is, just in case you can't read it, DIN 85LHAGM. That is the model number of this battery. It is an 850 cranking amp battery. It is quite a bit physically bigger than what the original battery was, but as you can see, it fits like a glove in the original battery tray. So you can fit a battery this big with no modifications whatsoever to the car required to make it fit. You don't even need to extend the terminal harnesses. Everything bolts up, and I can guarantee you, because I'm speaking from experience, you will have a much better run. You won't get those low battery or turning off to save power warnings or those sorts of things. So in my opinion, again, I'm not Ford, I'm not a mechanic, but I've owned two of these guys now. In my opinion, the best thing that you can do for your F150 is put a bigger, better battery in it, especially if you run things like extra 12 volts or extra wiring, Anderson plugs, anything like that. You're on borrowed time with your factory battery, shove a bigger one in there. The other reason that I'm making this point as well is quite often I get people sort of, getting in touch going, oh, my car's doing this, or I've got an issue with that, or whatever. Again, I am not Ford. I cannot diagnose a car via Facebook or remotely, but I can tell you from experience, having worked on a couple of hundred of these with Forescan, if you are having issues and they're unexplained and they're electrical, I am willing to bet that a fair proportion of those could be being caused if you're still on a factory battery with low voltage. The ABS module, as in the ABS brakes module, and the IPMA, which is the image processing module, XLT, Lariat, Platinum, they all have those modules, and they are the first ones that will start throwing trouble codes if your battery voltage is even a teensy bit low. So consider it, do your research, due diligence, all that sort of stuff, but can recommend get a bigger battery, wait until Super Cheap, Repco, whatever your poison is, wait until they have a good sale like the October long weekend or Easter or whatever, shell out the money when they're nice and cheap. I think this one cost me maybe a bit over $300, but as I said, it will fit straight in and it will give you a much better run in terms of avoiding those little electrical dramas that don't seem to make any sense.